but be grateful for the fact that at 59, you even can get on this bike, and even with crickety knees, you're working through that. I did stretches and limbering. I have a whole series of things that I do so that I can manage them.
Hi, welcome to the Judy Torel Show, where I explore topics intended to optimize every body, 50, 60, 70, and above.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Judy Torel Show. And if you are tuning into this episode, then you are with me on episode number 3 of my 5th series. And my theme for this series is, what has ultra endurance sport taught me that I am now applying to my daily life as I live in an aging body? And how can I relay those experiences and the skills that I've learned to hone in and refine from endurance sport to relay to my clients and my viewers, so that you don't have to do the endurance sport, but you can be the beneficiary of my insights. So the skill and the what I call mindset that I want to address in this 3rd episode is gratitude. So I just returned from an epic 380-mile bicycle ride across the state of New York with a client of mine he was 69 years old. I am 59 and a half years old, and we're both women. And we experienced, as you can imagine, it took us 6 days to do it. In 6 days of consistent bicycle riding for hours and hours a day, through a variety of very challenging weather conditions, through a whole variety of challenging physicalities within our own bodies, through a variety of challenges with following trails and signage and getting lost in urban centers and, almost getting run over by people not paying attention in trucks, and a battery of adverse and challenging situations along the way. The attitude of gratitude was something that I used over and over again to see me through the ride, because the ride that we did, at any juncture, like we stopped at towns along the way, and at any juncture we could have called for an Uber, we could have gotten loved ones to come get us, we could have, at certain spots along the way, larger urban centers like Syracuse and Rochester, for instance, we could have gotten on an Amtrak and just got transported back home. And so the point I'm trying to make is that, just like in everyday life and living in an aging body, you can choose to, keep yourself to some goal or something that you're trying to achieve, or you can abort it at any moment. Okay. And so gratitude, while we were on the ride, saw me through, and I'll give you some specific examples of not, aborting the whole project in the midst of it. So for instance, the pace that we were riding was not challenging to me for the most part, because I was trying to, stay as a partnership with my partner. And so there were many times where my mind would grab onto that and get angry, judgmental, mad, frustrated, because I wanted to be able to do more, and I could do more, but the circumstances and my commitment to doing the ride with a partner was a conflict. And so I could very easily have slid into becoming a jerk, really, and either gone way ahead or had attitude, or, made the stages of the ride where this was occurring just unpleasant. But what I did when I was finding that was bubbling up inside of me was that I reminded myself that, how would it be if I was out there alone riding? If I didn't have the safety and the companionship of somebody who, in my mind, I was making, a liability in that moment, and they clearly were not. And I was just kind of switched my brain into, what am I getting from this situation versus what am I lacking from it? And I would find that it was very helpful to me to switch that so that I was actually grateful for having the company. And that helped to calm down my other part of my brain that was having a little hissy fit because things weren't the way I would have ideally wanted them to be. And I was frustrated. Using that as an example, I take that forward and I can reflect on living in a 59-year-old body and, even starting this trip, getting on the bike, I had a 20-pound backpack on. I had new pedal clips that I wasn't really familiar with and comfortable with. I'd only ridden on them like once prior to the trip. And, so issues that were going on because I'm not, I have arthritic knees. And so when we first started with the 20-pound pack on my back, my knees were creaking and talking to me. So my own body and its state that it is at 59, I could compare back to, well, it wasn't like that when I was 29 and it wasn't like that when I was 39. And, it's not fair that it should be this way. And I don't like it that it's this way. And other people's knees are not bad. So why do I have to deal with this? And blah, 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 this whole spin up that would go in my head that could very easily turn, the beginning of this ride, it could have turned it into, really just like a completely unpleasant experience. And my mind, was going that way. And so I would said to myself, yeah, but be grateful for the fact that at 59, you even can get on this bike and even with crickety knees, you're working through that. I did stretches and limbering. I have a whole series of things that I do so that I can manage them to be able to do this 380-mile ride across the state of New York. So again, just switching my own mind, that, the things that are going on in my own body that are different from when I was younger, that's the skill that I want to teach and relay to the viewers right now. And when I'm working individually with clients, it's like, it's so easy as we get older. Once I was over 50, and then 55 and now 59 on the cusp of 60, it's like every 5 years, and it's not black and white like this, but it seems like a whole new set of adaptations that go with just growing older. And, I'm a fit older woman and I still have these issues and I'm going to have more of them because I work with people, men and women both, that are in their 60s and in their 70s. I have a gentleman I'm working right now who's early 70s. He's recovered and in remission from leukemia, cancer. And he was an avid bicyclist and he was making headway and gains in his upper 60s that he had never made when he was younger. And then he got cancer and now he's coming out the other side of that. He's had, radiation treatments and chemo and his body has been through, a battle, a war. He's now in remission, but when he's not in shape, he's not, and he's constantly comparing himself to me as we're working to get him stronger again. About, 5 years ago, prior to the disease, this is how I was. And the reason why I'm relaying the story is because he's stuck there. And so he's making progress now, but he's not really fully conscious of it. And he's not able to celebrate it because his mind is distorting and telling him that his life should have been a different way, or the circumstances that he's dealing with now, he doesn't like them. And I get it. I don't like living with arthritic knees now either, but it is what is right now. And it's going to be, I'm 59. What am I going to happen when I'm 65? What am I going to have to manage when I'm 69? So I keep saying to myself, Judy, you have to learn to manage this right now and do it with grace and do it with gratitude because it's not stopping, and what's your alternative? Like, stop living. That's not really an alternative, but, keep doing what you're doing, but like, just make it a very dark, negative, unenjoyable experience when you can, focus in on instead, for instance, I think about this all the time. I'm 59. Go back a couple, hundreds of years ago, not that far back, 1800s. I'd be dead and under the ground right now. I wouldn't be riding my bike across the state of New York. And so grateful for the time in human history that we're living, that we have science and medical processes and nutrition and a whole host of, cultural things that we were born into this time, didn't ask to be born here, just came, and so now at 59 and my partner's 69, how great, what an attitude. I have an attitude of gratitude about that. And just that switch alone makes my daily life experience completely different when I'm living in the body I'm in, and also when I'm planning and addressing my sports and my workouts. I have a lot of clients that come to me for two things, disease management, cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, autoimmune disorders of a whole variety, GI issues. I have clients that, they want to lose weight and it's a challenge to them. They're battling, wanting to eat the foods that everyone else is eating, these hyper palatable, very high sensational and really reward center of your brain light up like a Christmas tree foods that they are finding extremely difficult to avoid. Or if they avoid it, then when they start on them, it's like they're off to the races and can't stop. And they were able to do that with less negative ramifications of it when they were younger, but now they're older and it's like, it's a cumulative effect. You don't have the wiggle room you did before. And, they get mad, they get upset, they get frustrated, they get nihilistic. And so bringing gratitude for the fact that we are living in a time where we're not starving, that we do have access to all, healthful foods, and, that we do have to manage these addictive foods too. But, I would rather have that, I think, than having to be wrestling with having to kill wild animals, as we are evolving as humans. So, it's, again, this little flip in how you're going to address the challenges that are harder to manage in living in a body that's aging. We have a choice. I tell everybody, glass half empty, glass half full are both true. But how you're viewing it is going to have a completely different effect in your emotional being and how you're addressing life and your motivation for showing up every day. So attitude of gratitude, or just, I don't even like that. It sounds kind of trite. So take the attitude of gratitude out. Just practicing gratitude. And I'm from my endurance sport. I apply that at various states, during the ride that I just completed. When I'm finding my own mind was, going into a dark place and, kind of like a childlike, immature, well, this isn't the way I like it. And then just reminding myself to switch my focus. Well, what do I do like about this? What is amazing? Like, it's amazing that the human body can even ride a bike and go across the country, the state, at 59 years old. And 2 seconds before that thought, I was pissy in my own body. And, the minute after that, I'm looking at the sun and the beautiful waterway that we're passing, and my partner that's going a little slower than I would ideally like, but, what wonderful company she is for me, what safety she offers to have a partner to be able to do it. And I had a completely switch. I had an experience of completely switching what I was experiencing in that moment. So, mental skill number 3 that I have learned and I just have on the top of mind from doing this epic 6-day biking trek is gratitude. Just when things are not going your way because of your aging body and the process of things that, the process it takes now in being in your body that's not as young as it used to be, bringing that shift of perspective into what is working right now. What do I like about this, living in this body versus my younger body? And just doing that little mental switch might be enough to keep you on your weight loss program, might be enough to help you to find, a more creative way to manage, the chronic thing that you're having to manage now in your body. It's magic, really is. So skill number 3, gratitude. Practice gratitude. Gratitude for being in the aging body and the state it's in and what it can do still. All right. So as always, thanks for listening and watching. What's our motto? Let's make the second 50 even better than the first. Stay tuned. There's 3 more of these mental skills that I've learned on episode 4, 5, and 6 in this series. So stay tuned. Be well. Thanks for listening, everybody. And if you'd like to have access to some of my additional resources, I can be found at Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and on my website, www.judytorel.com.